Ready to go, George?
I am.
You introduce yourself then, there?
George Shirk here, providing some
You
color.
talk close. Hello. Welcome back to the GNCC playdowns, and we have here going is a tiebreaker game between
Oliver.
Team Oliver and Team Suslavich, and we're into the first end already, and both teams are playing typical game of takeout, which usually happens in the first end of a playdown game. And right now, yellow is going to try to draw in, and at this point, they're going to see if they can set themselves up to take two.
One is the overhouse camps. That's the stuff that shows up on these TVs. All of those cameras feed into this gray box, and the gray box feeds into here. So when we want to, I can click on house far and dial it in.
See, it was a little heavy with that stone. So Team Suslavich is going to try to take out the yellow here, and either stick or roll out. Either one's okay. And the house is blank. You good to go there, George?
I am. Tough angle from where we're sitting.
Yeah, I almost got to stand up. So I don't know what's. If I'm off here, the mic is off. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yes.
So you can see I'm just kind of following the rock down the sheet.
Okay, Team Oliver has the hammer and has drawn one in right into the center again. And Team Suslavich will now try to take this stone out.
So the scoreboard up here, and the player fly-ins are all controlled down here. Some of it is automated, but there's still a lot of clicks involved.
And he has a hidden stick.
So,
and
I'm hitting F5.
Team Oliver will
Everything that's in preview.
now perhaps try to hit and stick or roll a little bit to the side. Usually the strategy in the first end is to just play a hit game, get used to the ice, and if you get some kind of a miss on either side, maybe try to take advantage of that. If you have the hammer like Team Oliver with the Yellowstones, you want to make sure you can take at least two. So if you can't take two, you're going to try to blank the end. And Team Suslavich will keep putting one in the house, and usually in the center, and that's what's being called for. And then hope for a miss by Team Oliver, and then they might be able to guard one up. You got to talk sometime here,
All right. The idea behind the hit game early on is they're saving time on the clock. They'll probably run 5 minutes of their 7.5 minutes off by playing the hit game, allowing for an extra cushion toward the later ends when the shots are more key.
Help control the rock's left counter here. If I ever make a mistake,
So
that's the +1 rocket score. Oops, wrong one. Add one back real quick. At the end of an end, resetting stones, add them all back.
right, Team Suslavich hit and rolled on that stone. Left one in the back corner of the house, which is just fine. And
If for some reason this top bar is
looks here at this point that I'm sorry, here Team Suslavich is going to try to put another one into the house here. At this point, when there's 2 rocks in the house by the team without the hammer, if they can put 2 rocks in the house, that's good. That'll force the team with the hammer, Team Oliver, to try to take 1. And if they can force Team Oliver to take 1 in the first end, that would be actually considered a win for them.
So here I'm dialing in the house. The house works a little differently than the other cameras. It's a layer over top, so it's not changing anything below. So I click it in, and I click it out.
Yeah, that was through.
So he threw that one through. So we'll see here Team Oliver, Skip Tyler, throw his first skip rock, and
Like the hit and spill.
yep, just hit and spill that red one out.
So yellow's coming down.
Ice must be very swingy. Those sweepers are on it immediately. And he gets the hit and roll out.
That's a good shot. The house is open. Team Suslavich now here, Skip Kent. He'll come down and try to draw one off to the side. And just make Team Oliver come and try to hit it out if he can, and try to blank the end.
And I can dial it out.
Yeah, you got to look at this one. This is blank.
That is not live, correct?
Hopefully.
Well, Kent throws his stone here. No sweeping yet. And he's got a good draw into the house. So Skip Tyler Oliver now will come down and try to peel that off, leave the house blank, and then come back in the second end with the hammer.
Oliver's sweepers are on it right away. Oh, but he sticks. So he's going to take the 1 point. It's not exactly what he wanted.
So, end's over. And the scoreboard down here, I type in the number. And I don't enter it.
Okay, so we had Team Oliver take 1, and after the first end, it's Team Oliver 1, Team Suslavich 0. Usually in play-down curling, that end would be considered sort of a win for Team Suslavich by holding the team with the hammer to 1. And this next end, we'll see what the strategy is, whether we're going to have a defensive or an offensive strategy. My name is Steve Duberstein. I'm here with George as one of the announcers. I have several daughters, and I help coach one of the GNCC girls teams. I'm from Portage, Wisconsin, and our girls teams, along with Team Ely, are the 2 teams qualified out of GNCC for junior nationals. So, it looks here like Team Oliver is calling for a center guard. And by calling for a center guard, they're basically indicating that they want to score, they want to steal on this end. So they're going to put up a center guard here, and then we'll see what kind of strategy that Team Suslavich is going to come back with here. So the call here is to draw around the center guard. Or wait, hold on. Nope, Team Suslavich is calling for a corner guard, and this indicates that they want to play this end offensively also. So, although it seems a bit strange to put up a corner guard outside of the house because of the free guard zone rule, the other team cannot remove that stone from play. They can tick it if they want, but they can't remove it from play. And by putting it to the side later, Team Suslavich hopes to draw around that stone and then keep the middle of the house open and try to score 2 or more.
All right. Okay, a little draw, a little biter. It can be taken out. Sure looks like it.
Okay, Team Oliver drew down, and hard to quite see if that stone is biting. I do not believe it is, which means it's still a free guard. So Team Suslavich can take that out.
If you use the appropriate one, so we're in a near house right here. When I dial in the near house, the bottom, sorry, the top of the house is at the bottom.
Oh, he takes the long guard.
Top of the house is at the bottom of the screen. So that way it matches. If I do the wrong one, it's reversed. One trick that you probably noticed when doing this, F5 only works if this window is active. So when I cue this up,
Okay, Team Oliver's electing to try to draw around
blank space,
their guard. Not quite a center guard, but still looks like they're trying to draw around it
something I wish I could
and see if they can get one buried.
so much
The stone looks really hot.
one of our future to be fixed things.
So they sort of opened up the house here, and right now the end is, I'd say the end is looking good for Team Suslavich. At this point, if you're the team with the hammer, like Team Suslavich, what you like to see is a front of the house that looks like this, where you've got guards on both sides. Then you start trying to draw around your guards on each side. Try to see if you can score 2 or more.
Most of the design is stolen from, inspired by TSN or the 12th Ed Curling Network. 12th Ed
The
Sports
draw
Network.
looks a little hot, and it's going to be swept through the back. Oh, it's going to stick in the back.
Canadian ESPN, and since they're Canadian, they broadcast like
My shot was a little heavy.
started by Joe,
Still the only one in the house, not quite buried. So
12th M was
Team Oliver at this point gonna try another draw. If they draw,
stars to match the best and brightest.
And that one's going to sail right through as well.
The other thing I forgot to do is you'll notice we have a current hammer thing here. So since 2 scored, 1 gets hammered.
this is a little wide there, and
Touch heavy.
touch heavy. Team Suslavich here will throw and see if they can get around their corner guards or maybe in front of that their red stone in the back.
This is just software used to monitor our Twitter feed. It allows us to schedule tweets in advance. So I don't have to click start
came up a bit narrow and crashed on the guard, and unfortunately sort of put up a center guard. And so now the end sort of switches around, and we'll have to see here if Team Oliver looks like they are going to try to draw around that center guard and try to steal one. That last shot was a little painful for Team Suslavich. It by being narrow and then sort of knocking one of their own guards in the center, so that Oliver can use that stone. A little bit heavy and a little wide.
That stone's wide open for a little hit and roll.
So Kent Suslavich is called for a hit and roll here. Going to try to roll behind his guards.
Put up desktop background for 15 minutes.
And it's a beautiful hit and roll.
Beautiful shot. A little bit behind the tee line, so it can give Team Oliver something to draw down to, but still a great shot. Team Suslavich is in pretty good shape here. Puts a lot of pressure onto Team Oliver to make the draw here. Shot a little bit wide. Tiny bit heavy, not bad, but still leaves a nice hit and roll, preferably to the other side for Team Suslavich. If they can hit the roll and get to the other side, they're in real good shape. They'd have an open house in the middle, which is what you like to see when you have the last rock, and then it makes it pretty tough for Team Oliver to try to keep them from scoring 2 or more.
So all the games before this one were part of a round-robin play. For the women's, 2 teams made it to nationals.
That nose hit is not what he wanted. He would have preferred to roll one way or the other. Oliver has a good chance to hit and roll here and salvage the end.
For the men's, 4 teams make the playoffs, and then do a page playoff.
Skip Tyler Oliver has his first stone here, and see if he can get the hit and roll. If he gets a hit and roll just right, he could be almost corner freeze onto that red stone in the back of the 4-foot, and which would be a great shot for him.
So rather than broadcasting the quarterfinal, we're broadcasting the first of 2 play-down tiebreaker games. There was much crying from the officials when we had that tiebreaker.
Yeah, came out wide and took the rock out, but took his own out too. Now Suslavich has a good chance for a big end here. He's got two scoring, and if he can put up one, maybe biting the 12-foot here, he'd be setting 3, and then
Denying
Tyler
access.
Oliver has a really tough shot to try to save the end. Probably a little heavier than what they're looking for, but actually pretty good shot. Just touching. Oh, just not quite touching a 12. That would have been nice to touch a 12-foot to be able sitting another counter, but still a very tough shot now for Skip Tyler Oliver. He has to draw in and not be exposed so that Ken Suslavich could just take him out for 3. So it's a tough shot. If he can bury it, he might be able to steal one.
Has snow mostly cleared up? Shouldn't be a problem getting home then.
No sweeping going on. Usually indicates the stone may be a little bit heavy. And he's going to sail right through. So this leaves a couple possibilities for Ken Suslavich to take possibly 4. If he calls here, if he can either draw in or if he ticks that top stone, he could roll it over and sit 4. Looks like his stick is set for the draw. Would you say that, George?
I would think that he
like
really
draw.
does want to tick and try to get the 4 points.
That would be the shot of choice. Just try to tick that red one that's just outside the house. Roll that one way and roll your other one on for 4.
As far as the ticks go, that's a relatively easy shot. All he has to do is touch the stone, basically, and if he throws T-weight.
Hey, he's pretty close to the house, so if he can just tick it, he'll be in good shape.
They're on it. The sweepers are on it because it looks a little bit light. Yeah, it's going to over curl. Oh, sweeper.
So he
been
was
on
a
that
little
all
light,
the way.
and that left Suslavich for 2. Sort of a missed opportunity there to get either 3 or 4. So after 2 ends, the score is Team Suslavich 2, Team Oliver 1. This game is being played here at Potomac Curling Club on sheet D, the 4th sheet. And as a result, some of the cameras you see, especially during the middle of the shot, are sort of at an angle. And the club here has an outstanding camera system. It's really designed for sheet B. But in a competition of this type, when you get to tiebreakers, they don't always play on the same sheet. They move you around from sheet to sheet. Try to make sure you don't play with the same sheet or the same stones. So at this point, Team Suslavich without the hammer is throwing their first shot. They're calling for usually a defensive strategy and maybe trying to go in the house, but they look like they're going to be light, and so they'll end up with some kind of a guard here.
It looks like he's off to the side of that center line. That's a long guard. Imagine that Oliver would try to draw behind it.
Yeah, it's a little hard for us, George and I, to see here because we're sort of looking at the sheet at an angle where the table's set up here for the video. It's set up for sheet B, so it's hard for us to exactly see sometimes where the stones are. But his guard is off to the side, and so being off to the side, it's almost acting as a corner guard for Team Oliver, and they're trying to take advantage of that and draw around this. And but I believe they came up
short.
Yeah, they came up a little short.
I think we're drawing around this time as well.
So since there's a couple of guards up, Team Suslavich is going to
He's
try
going to
to
kick
go,
his own guard and maybe roll in. No, he's going to be a little short of that the house there.
is trying to draw around there, and but now at this point, really Team Oliver has a couple of corner guards to work with, and start to perhaps try to draw around those, and see if they can get some stones buried on the side.
Sweepers are well off it, so it looks like it might be a little hot. Certainly won't be buried. That is a guard.
So he ends up coming up a little light, sort of a center guard at this point. And so what Team Suslavich is elected to do is try to take that out, maybe roll to the side, or stick right in front would be fine too.
Looks like the hit and roll, and it will be a biter.
They're just inside the 12-foot, and they are sort of buried behind the red guard, and which is an okay position to be in. And if you're playing a defensive end, trying to keep the other team from scoring more than one. Okay, Team Oliver throwing the intern draw, and
Looks like
pretty good shot,
buried.
about half buried. Makes it a tough shot for Team Suslavich. They need to remove this. Move this, roll out would be fine. Roll to the side would be fine too.
Must be at least half open if they're going to try to hit rather than draw to it. And he gets
That's
a
a
hit
good shot.
and roll.
Very good shot. It's got a hit and roll to the side. So, although Team Suslavich does not have the hammer, usually without the hammer, you like to have a center guard and maybe get something around it. But if you're playing a defensive end, which they're ahead, playing a little bit of a defensive end, it's okay to be on the side. It just keeps Team Oliver makes it hard for them to score more than one.
Sweepers are all over this one. It looks tight to the guard. It is on the guard.
So he's on the guard there, rolled a little bit to the side, left a guard not quite on center line, pretty close. Kent is thinking about this one a little bit, and looks like he's gonna try to remove that guard up front.
I think he'd like to get both of them. With the hammer, he does not have the hammer. I take it back. Does not have the hammer. He's going to get the one.
That's quite a defensive shot. By calling that shot, what he's basically deciding is that he's okay to play hit for the rest of the end and give up one if need be, which is an acceptable strategy. If you give up one without the hammer, in other words, the hammer team scores only one, you come back and score two. Each time you win the game by quite a few. So Team Oliver here, if they can, they'll try to get a hit and a roll. But they were quite a bit inside, and they flashed.
This entire Bonspiel, the ice has been very swingy and a little bit light, and you'll get 2 or 3 feet of swing on a bumper weight hit. I think that's what happened in that shot.
So Cantier called for a draw behind, and still playing this end defensive, because if he can get one buried here behind, he doesn't really have a shot in the middle. He's leaving the 4-foot for the draw, for the final draw for Team Oliver. But very hard for Oliver to score more than one at this point. Yeah, we're calling the hit and roll here.
He's got the hit, but he overrolled.
So he a little bit inside on that, and so he hit and rolled, but he rolled out. If he would have rolled behind the red one, he could have had a chance for taking 2. So now Kent has called for a guard, actually for an open draw right in the top of the 12-foot. And this is Kent, the skip's first stone. And by doing this, it's hard for the other team to skip to score 2. And also, if depending on what happens with Team Oliver's next shot, he has a chance to tap one of his up.
I think the ideal shot would be a nice freeze at this point. But the guard is a good second best.
A little bit light there. He was a little light on that shot, and probably a little narrow, but he's still in good shape. Really leaves the draw for Team Oliver if they can try to get something buried so that Kent can't hit it out. They'd have a chance for 2. He leaves it a little wide. Kent has a chance to then hit it and roll under his guards and possibly steal one this end. So even though he's playing a defensive end, there's an opportunity for him to actually score. Sweepers are on, sweepers are off. Usually a good sign.
It's a little bit deep. It is second rock.
Yep, he was a little deep.
No, we got skips rocks.
Okay, we don't want to mark that. Two more. One for each.
Right.
Yep.
That's all right.
So Kent Suslavich, team without the hammer. This is his last stone. Try to draw one in. If he sits, basically either wants to bury it or maybe sit in the 12-foot. What he does not want to do is give them a hit and a roll so they can score. But Kent's in pretty good shape right here with his shot. If he can either bury it or make the draw difficult by putting one in the 12-foot, he has a chance to score 1, possibly 2.
The shot wound up a little bit wide, leaving the 4-foot area open with a little backing there. Can't tell whether it's going to.
Skips are going to take a while to decide here, so go back to the default game.
So, Kent came up a little wide, a little light, and he did leave a path here into the 4-foot for Tyler Oliver to score one. But he can't really score two here. So, accomplish a goal. Always try to hold a team with the hammer to one or less.
Oh no, a little bit heavy.
A little bit heavy. And
He's going to concede a steal.
yep, it looks like Team Suslavich is going to steal one in that end. Nice defensive end played by Team Suslavich. And sometimes in a defensive end, you can set things up. That makes it Skip's last draw. Tough shot, and he stole one.
Turn off your throwing, because the arc stopped. And now reset the throws. We don't have to change hammer because this one. And one last thing. D near.
That's what the room's for.
Okay. Team Suslavich at this point. Looks like they're calling for a guard out on top.
And make sure to click throw.
And that would indicate that they want to play offensive on this end, maybe take another point.
Nice tight 3-guard.
One thing you're doing, make sure to put the blank spot when you're going back again.
T. Oliver here electing to draw around the guard early, trying to take control of the center of the halls, take control of the 4-foot early in the end, and see if they can get some rocks buried in there. This strategy is sometimes considered a little defensive because you can get in a situation where it's hard to score more than one. That shot's actually not bad. If you tick the guard and that kind of thing and tick the guard out of the way far enough, you can sort of set yourself up with a pair of corner guards, but they really didn't tick Team Suslavich's rock over enough. So Kent's going to like to try to tap that one back right away and take control of the 4-foot.
Brushers are on it right away. And that stone is over curling by quite a bit. No
So-
harm done as they're blocking up the front of the house.
Yeah, I'd say that, George. I mean, there's that stone way over curled, but it is sort of corner froze on there, and not all that bad of a shot if you don't have the hammer. We'd say that was a pro side miss. Okay, Team Oliver throwing the out turn, and maybe going to try to
Looks like they're going to end up bumping that yellow one
maybe
into
tap
the house.
theirs in. And that's a good shot. That's a good shot. Sort of got one buried behind the guard here now. Front is still a little plugged up, though. So Kent's going to elect to try to run that one back. So he's going to try to hit his red stone into the yellow stone and then be sitting in the house.
Stone over curled slightly, and it ran off the guard, but the shooter ran off to the side as well. Oliver would very much like to draw in behind the red guard for a second stone.
So at this point, Team Oliver, if they can draw one behind that the red guard just off to the side, they'd be sitting in pretty good shape at this point as far as this end goes. Over curled and a little bit light, so Cantor elect to try to hit Team Oliver's stone and roll behind those guards. Quite a tight broom, so throwing a normal, maybe even a normal up weight here. And he has to hit it just right in order to get the hit and roll and not roll out. So Tyler Oliver is going to call for the same exact shot here and try to hit and get his stone buried behind those guards.
Pressures are going hard. Looks close. Oh!
Just note you are left behind on phone, so undo one, do two, and turn it on. Now we're back on one.
So unfortunately, Team Oliver flashed on that one, and Kent Suslavich is going to call for another one in the house here.
I think that wick was actually beneficial. I think the stone was a little bit hot. Team Suslavich is sitting 2 at this point.
Yeah, he got a good. He came out on that shot, was bit off the line and then ticked off and actually sort of worked out pretty good for him. So I'm gonna expect here see Team Oliver possibly try to double these off.
I think he's going to draw. He's going to ignore those two
Yeah,
that
he's
are
ignoring
wide
them.
open.
You're right. You're right, George. I think he's ignoring that. Going to try to draw in. Not totally buried. So if Kent Sulcevich's team can hit this, he's going to be in pretty good shape. Just needs to clear those guards on top.
Oh, and that is a beautiful shot.
Beautiful shot. Beautiful shot. Rolled a little bit off to the side. And Team Suslavich now sitting 3 without the hammer. Putting a lot of pressure on Tyler Oliver's team here. And he's going to call and try to draw in again here and try to get something buried. try to freeze up to that red one. That's a pretty hard freeze, but if he can get it buried, he might be able to be off the corner of that and maybe be sitting shot.
Might be able to come right around it to the corner of the 4-foot.
Yeah, that's true. That's another possibility here, is if he comes around to the back here. Well, that's a pretty good shot, too. He is exposed, though, so if Kent can pick that out, he'll be in good shape. If not, then Team Oliver has a chance of trying to take two.
I imagine he's going to throw just hack weight, just a nice quiet control weight that the sweepers can keep on that stone. And if he gets a roll with that hit, it's going to leave the 4-foot open, but he'll be sitting 4.
Yeah, he's got the broom. Yeah. Got the broom set for maybe like a hack backline weight, and if he rolls to the rolls off and buries it, he'll be in pretty good shape here.
I'm not convinced that the skips have figured out how swingy this ice is yet, because it seems that they're not missing the broom terribly, but the stones are reacting very, curling very hard on the lower weight shots.
So Kent wanted to hit that yellow one. It's quite a bit off, and ended up with sort of a wiki shot, pushing another one of his in, but here's his. He's not sitting shot. Team Oliver is sitting shot, and you see if they can. They're going to see if they can draw another one in here. For Team Suslavich, if they don't make this shot, they may be in a situation of just having to give up one, but still at this point in the game they're ahead. That would be acceptable.
It seems like a pretty risky play, because if he doesn't get all the way buried, there's going to be an opportunity for a double takeout. And this stone over curls as well. Now it's going to work out pretty darn well.
Nice tap
Can't
up into the
argue
4
with
pin.
Plan B.
Nice tap up into the 4-foot there. Don't think that was a called shot, but it works out pretty good. So,
But there certainly is a double takeout possibility at this point.
So, but the yellow rock is exposed, and there's opportunity for a double here. But needs to hit this shot. Otherwise, could be looking at giving up maybe 3. Sort of tough announcing here when we're not right behind the sheet, so we can't exactly see the line of the stone when it's coming down the ice. Kent's throw a bit of a light, sort of a little less than a control weight shot. And just come down in here.
That looks like it might not even get to the house.
Looks like he set up a situation for possibly a draw for 3 here. Sort of interesting. He didn't throw a little bit higher weight at that shot, and maybe try to double him out.
After a number of crashes here, the gallery is very much in debate about where the broom should be held. And this ice is very, very weight sensitive at this point.
He has a pretty narrow port to draw through here. Sweepers are on it. Just crashes on the guard.
Overcurled a little bit. 2 stones ties up the game.
Good end for Team Oliver, taking 2 with the hammer. So game is tied 3-3 after 4 ends. And this is a tiebreaker game. Tiebreaker, what we have going here is in one of the pools, we have a 3-way tie for second place in the pool between Team Oliver, Team Suslavich, and Team Unterborn. And these 2 teams play first. The winner of this team plays team at 8 p.m. tonight, plays Team Unterborn. And the winner of that game plays Daniel Dutt's team at 9 a.m. tomorrow. The winner of that game plays the loser of the McMacken-Dunham game, which is we would sort of call the 1-2 game in a page-type playoff. It's the top teams from both pools. And then the winner of that game plays in the final. So each of these teams here, these 2 teams here, in order to make it to the GNCC championship, has to play 50 ends of curling. They have to win 5 games here to win the GNCC championship, 5 games in a row. So yeah, he was calling for a center guard, was he?
I believe
George?
he wanted a guard, and he's going to wind up with a T-line, or actually, on the button.
Yeah, I think Tyler Arbler was calling for a center guard there, meaning he was going to play a little offensive on this end to try to take some points, and he ended up being heavy. So at this point, Team Suslavich is just going to try to take, and we'll see if he's going to remove that stone, or is he going to play for a corner guard here.
Sure does look like a corner given the weight.
So Kent is called for corner guard, which is an offensive strategy, meaning he's going to try to take 2 on this end. And what we'll see here from Team Oliver is I'm trying to put up another guard or maybe touching into the 12-foot. And then Team Suslavich will try to start hitting those and rolling behind their corner guard on the side. Just a hair wide there, but he still is a free guard. So in curling, first 4 stones thrown, 2 by each team, are considered what we call free guards. And that means that the stone cannot be removed from play. You can move it around, but you can't remove it from play. But it allows some stones to be put up front and makes the game more interesting for the last 6 stones by each team.
Kind of surprised they're going for the shot rock at this point. And they're going to hit the corner guard. Knocking it through will mean that they bring it back and put it back where it was. There's an example of your free guard zone in action.
Yeah, a bit of an interesting shot there because that stone was a free guard, and they were not because that stone was removed from play. You see, they came and they put that stone back where it was, and then the red rock was removed, and that's sort of a violation of the free guard rule because they took that stone out of play. Looks like maybe he was trying to take the back one out, George.
Oh
and,
yeah,
and
yeah. He was
was
going for the
narrow.
back one, but I'm kind of surprised in that strategy call that he would go for that rather than put up the second corner guard.
So Team Oliver now here, calling for another guard up front, going to really try to plug things up and protect that stone in the back, and see if they can hold that for the rest of the end, and try to steal one.
I'm not sure they really wanted to get that guard as close to the other guard as they did, as that, well, it's not quite as close as I had envisioned, but there's a good opportunity to take them both off with one shot here.
So these stones are no longer free guards. So you see Team Suslavich try to double these off. And he peels the front one, and unfortunately knocks another one of these. Another one of those in on a little bit of a bad break there for Kent's team. So Team Oliver going to try to put up another guard, or maybe even put something into the house. A bit wide on this shot, though.
Looks like there's a double opportunity here. Would imagine that they would try to get rid of a stone here, whether it's the guard on top or try the double in the back. And that looks like they're going to go for the double for the two stones in the house. Oh, the brushers are all over it. Wow, and they overcrossed the center guard.
This ends up peeling the center guard. It's not all that bad. At this point, we can expect to see Tyler Oliver's team try to put some more guards up front. And the game at this point sort of goes, can they put up some good guards? Because if they can keep putting up some good guards, they've got a chance of taking one or more and stealing one or more. They miss their guard, then Team Suslavich will have a chance to come in and hit those stones out of the house, and maybe even tap one back a little bit and be shot.
That's nicely done. A little biter, right square and on the center line.
It's a beautiful guard. Looks like Kent's going to try to hit the one on the outside, and a little bit of damage control here, but if he hits and rolls in front of the other one, that's not all that bad either.
Oliver is still sitting two, and he's got a tough decision here. Does he draw in? Does he guard? Or does he try to take out the red rock? It looks like he's opting to take out the red rock. Take it out and a little flop inside, he'd be all set.
He has a broom set for maybe a control weight type of hit here, and he really needs to hit this on the inside so that he rolls in and doesn't cause the end one to jam on the back. Smooth shot here, George.
It looks like
Yellow's still shot.
Looks like yellow still shot, but that was not what he wanted to do.
The risk with that shot is exactly that. If you don't hit it on the inside, you sort of took away your advantage. The 4-foot is somewhat open now at this point. And red has a reasonable chance here of possibly scoring 2 by the time the end is over. So that was a little bit of a risky shot, but the key is you do need to hit it on the inside, and you hit it on the outside, and then ended up with the jam.
Yeah, I don't know. I would think he's trying to hit the center stone. He's got a double possibility there.
Kent here clearing off the center guard. I'd say that's an okay shot at this point. That was sort of a good AB shot. I think possibly he was trying to go and maybe double those yellow ones in the back. It's hard to see, but just clearing the guard at this point is fine. Team Oliver at this point looks like they're electing to sort of draw right into the pocket there. Maybe guard right in front. Try to maybe still be able to steal. I think their stone is yellow stone is shot in the back of the 4-foot. Tyler Oliver.
Sweepers all over it.
This first skip stone here. And he has a pretty well-placed guard out front.
What do you think? Is it time to run that guard right back into the pile and open the house up?
Yeah, it's, he's electing to draw in here. That's one possibility. Although it's unless you really get it buried in there or get it maybe frozen up against his own Kent's own redstone there, it'll be exposed. So it's sort of a toss-up between a shot like this and maybe trying to just peel off that center guard and trying to see if you can open it up again.
Pressure's on it right away. Yeah, that stone is over curling.
Yep, sweeper's on it early, and quite a bit later than I think he was looking for. 4-foot is still open. I'll see if Team Oliver here tries to plug it up and tries to make the draw for Kent difficult.
Seeing the skips move the broom out consistently throughout this game. It's almost 5 feet of curl at this point.
So Tyler Oliver here trying to, looks like maybe put a guard here right on the top of the 12-foot.
That's a good-looking guard. he
Yeah,
just
well
threw.
placed shot. Well placed shot. Order to score now. Kent's going to have to try to take one by drawing around and biting the 4-foot as shot rock. It's a lot of.
Out on the edge of the 12-foot.
Yep.
Oh, he's
Oh,
throwing it
well,
away.
he's
He's
just-
gonna concede
Yeah,
the one.
he's just going to concede the one. So.
With all that yellow granite in the house, he decided that he would rather concede one than take a chance. Was that draw there?
Hard to tell. It's hard to tell if the draw was there from the angle we're looking at. Looking at the shot, so. But in any case, he threw the rock through, meaning he was really willing to give up one at this point. I mean, the game is close. You're within one, and there's 5 ends left. That's a lot of curling. Elected not to take a risk and possibly knock one of theirs in for 2. So that's a good call. We now have the 5th end break. 5th end break, and it lasts for 5 minutes. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how the junior curling program works. For junior nationals, which this year are held at the Broomstones Curling Club in Boston. Okay. Well, I explained a few things about how the junior curling program works. There are 9 regions around the United States, and each region is allocated one team to advance to the junior nationals. There are 10 slots available. This year, the junior nationals are in the Broomstones Curling Club in Boston. And what happened on the boys' side of the field is there were 8 of 9 regions that entered a play down, meaning they had more than 2 or more boys' teams playing down. And as a result of that, there were 8 of the 9 slots taken. The 10th slot is allocated starting this year for what's called the high performance team. And the high performance team is one of 2 teams from what the USCA calls Project 2018. And there are 2 high performance teams in the country. One is on the boys' side, one is the Dropkin Rink out of Boston, and then I believe the Wright Rink out of Minnesota. And those 2 teams played in September, and whoever won that game, or that series of games, it was double knockout, so you had to win 2 or 3, automatically advances to junior nationals. And that was run by the Dropkin Rink. So the Dropkin Rink advanced to junior nationals, which is at their home club in Boston, without having to go through the junior playdown system. That left 9 spots available, and 8 teams, 8 regions entered teams. 1 region did not. And when a region does not enter a team, then that extra available slot is allocated to whichever region enters the most teams. And on the boys' side this year, that was Minnesota. So Minnesota had 12 teams entering the junior playdowns, and they have 2 teams advancing to junior nationals. The next highest number of teams was the GNCC, the East Coast, which is this play down, and they entered 10 teams, but unfortunately there are no second slots. So only one team advances on to the Junior Nationals from the GNCC play down. So so what happened is there were two pools, and out of the advancing the two pools, the two top teams in the two pools, which were McMacken and Dunham, those two teams are going to be playing tomorrow at 9 a.m. And they play in what we call a page playoff. And in the page playoff, that's actually sort of the number 1 and number 2 seed, although they're both the top seeds from their particular pools. And the winner of that advances all the way to the finals, and the loser of that game plays in what we would call normally the 3-4 game. But what that is that's sort of the winner of this series of tiebreakers. This of which is the first game between Suslavich and Oliver. The winner of this plays Unterborn. And the winner of that plays Daniel Dutt of Pennsylvania. And the winner of that goes into what we call the 3-4 game. So it's quite a path in for these teams. But that's the way the playdowns are set up. And playdowns are set up in some degree in curling so that if you can try, if you have a bad game somewhere along the line, you still have a chance of making it through. So at this point, we're almost done with the fifth end break, and the score right now is Team Oliver 4 and Team Suslavich 3, and Team Suslavich will have the hammer for the sixth end. So Team Oliver here calling for the center guard. And call for the center guard, meaning they'd like to play the end offensively, meaning they'd like to score. And just short of the house, nice center guard. A little bit off the center line, but it'll work. So Kent Suslavich here is going to call for the corner guard. Corner guard is called by the team with the hammer. Try to put one off to the side that the other team can't take out. So at some point they can either draw or roll behind that corner guard off to the side. So both teams playing offense at this point. Both teams trying to score. And at this point, in the sixth end, with the score so close, that's what we would expect to see. Good guards by both teams here. Nice corner guard. Nice center guard, a little bit off the center, but still works for Team Oliver. Team Oliver calling an interesting shot here. Sort of another guard, a little bit between the corner and their center guard. Really putting up another center guard, a little bit off center from their first guard, which is nice. They're set up very nicely here to try to steal now. And as such, Kent Suslavich is going to call and try to draw in and take control of 4 foot early. So throwing the intern draw here, and looks heavy. If you call that kind of shot early in the game, being the team with the hammer, you want to be in front of the tee line. You don't want to be behind the tee line, because what happens is exactly what you see here. And you see Team Oliver going to try to draw behind their guards and actually then have that red stone for backing. Okay, that shot quite narrow, would you say, George?
Either narrow or light.
Yeah, narrow and light, both. And, you know, sets them up. They still got the guards up front. He didn't remove one of his guards, but now Kent's going to try to draw in, do that exact same shot, and then he'll be sitting two. Again, we're a little heavy here.
Same situation, a little
Yep.
heavy. Can't be happy with that.
Yeah, a little heavy. So now we have the same situation as last time. Would have been nice if that shot would have been about 4 or 5 feet lighter. That would have been just perfect, and made things very difficult for Team Oliver without the hammer to try to be getting rid of the red stones behind all of his own guards. So
Oliver would love to draw down on these two stones. Pro side error being a little deep rather than being short.
So he's got a nice shot going here. Nice shot. Just a hair short though, and so that means Ken Suslavich team still sitting one, but he's going to try to pick this out of here, and that probably leaves the situation set for the same shot to be thrown again, but. He would like to take, if he doesn't do something here, he could end up taking only one at this end, and he needs to take more than one.
The brushers are working hard. That's a beautiful shot.
Very, very nice shot. Picked the stone and kept his shooter around. Now sitting three, putting a lot of pressure on Team Oliver here to make this draw. If they miss this draw, then there's a big end setting up for Team Suslavich.
Again, the sweepers really need to get this all the way down, frozen on that red stone at the back of the forefoot.
Throws a beautiful shot here. Beautiful shot.
Oh, he should have taken it all the way down.
Yeah, beautiful shot. Still may be possible to pick it out of here. It's going to be a tough shot for Ken Suslavich's team and try to pick it out of there. And then he'll be back, same situation again, and possibly having to see Team Oliver sold the same draw again. Beautiful shot. Beautiful shot.
Awesome shot.
Picked it right out of there.
That's
puts the
why
pressure.
They need to take it all the way down for a freeze as opposed to sitting shot right on the button.
So we have Team Oliver pressure to throw the same shot again and try to freeze it down if they can. If they can get this frozen down, they're in good shape. And this time, got it all the way down, almost
That's
frozen.
what I'm talking about.
Excellent shot. Excellent shot. like Kent here is going to try to call a bit of an up weight and try to blast it off out to the side and still keep some of his red rocks around. And unfortunately, he flashed. So that leaves Tyler Oliver's team here good to possibly guard up and set up for a steal of one. So we talked about earlier in the end, if you're going to come in early and throw those draws behind the team without the Hammers guards, you have to have those rocks in front of the tee line. If you go behind the tee line, you end up playing this draw game like this until somebody finally freezes like this, and then the team that has a rock frozen on the top has the advantage.
That looks a bit wide.
No sweeping going on here, usually indicating that we either need curl or the shot is a little bit too heavy. But it looks here it's pretty much
back into the hole.
Yep, end up exactly where he wanted it to be. So Tyler Oliver's team at this point set up well for the steal. Leaves Kent Suslavich to try to just peel this guard off and try to make Team Oliver throw up another perfect guard. And that's about all he's really got. Is about all he can really do at this point. There's not much he can tap or hit and roll off of either.
Is there access to the 4-foot on the outturn?
I don't know if he could get it all the way in there. I'd say yeah.
It seems to be snapping a lot at the end. He nicely opens it up. Didn't have much choice other than to move that stone out of the center.
So I think it was a good shot. What he's done here is open up the path again, and George noticed here too that there is what we call the outturn draw. There's possibly a draw around the outside where he could draw in around the outside of all those yellow rocks and possibly score one. So at this point, Team Oliver can try to take one of those two options away. No sweepers. Looks a little heavy.
And it's outside too.
So sweepers are on it. And looks like there's a shot, maybe a kind of a hit and stick is there down the middle, so that Team Suslavich can take one here. It's going to be hard for them to get more than one. They could come and really try to blast and hit that yellow one out, but if they were off to the side, they might end up giving up one.
I think that's the shot they're trying here. They're going to try to blast that yellow right out for two. There is room to draw right to the button.
So he's got the broom set for a pretty heavyweight shot here.
Doesn't look like you can do it. Looks like redstone's a little bit on this side.
Just missed. a little bit to the outside, and that was the risk with that shot, as if you do miss, you end up with a steal of 1. So with that, Team Suslavich is going to keep the hammer, and after 6 ends, we're going to have Team Oliver 5 and Team Suslavich 3. Teams now meeting on the ice, having a little team meeting, try to decide what strategy they're going to take from here on in. On the clock, after each end, there is a 73-minute clock that each team gets 73 minutes to play their game in. But after each end, there's 60 seconds after the last stone comes to rest to have a team meeting or otherwise. There's 60 seconds. Once the 60 seconds expires, the team without the hammer, the clock automatically starts. Or once the team without the hammer throws the first stone, once it crosses the near tee line, then the clock starts. There's one game I noticed earlier in the day that the last shot was thrown with 3 seconds left. So you don't really want to be in that position, but I don't think either of the teams are having any problems with the clock at this point.
And that looks like a nice center guard.
So Team Oliver putting up a center guard, and with a 2-point lead, they still feel they need to score. So they're going to put up a center guard rather than putting something in the house. And Team Suslavich going to put up a corner guard here. And standard strategy when you need to score 2 or more with the hammer.
I think they were trying to call a draw around that center guard, and got a little bit narrow, or, well, it wasn't light, but a little bit narrow.
I thought he saw him call for the corner guard. In any case, we don't have almost a center guard by Team Suslavich, and knocked yellow to the back of the house, not out of the house, so did not violate the free guard zone rule because the rock is still in play. So now Team Oliver electing possibly here to draw around and take control of 4-foot early. Team Suslavich now needs to go after that yellow rock in the house and try to get something in and try to get something buried behind that guard. And because they need rocks in play in the house in order to try to score a decent end. So they came up narrow and knocked their own out, and almost ended up placing a guard for Team Oliver. So advantage at this point is to Team Oliver, and it looks like what they're going to do is try to start plugging up the front end and seeing if they can steal one on this end again. Wants a guard slightly to the right of the red stone here. Try to guard the path on the right side.
And he got exactly what he asked for.
He did indeed. Well placed.
Suslavich looking to run his stone back.
So Kent at this point either has to run this back into the yellow or just clear it out to the side. You want to do one of the two. What you don't want to do is just slightly miss and then leave the guard still up.
And he ticks it off, which doesn't hurt him at all.
See, open up the house again. That's a good strategy at this point. Team Suslavich needs to keep clearing guards. Team Oliver needs to keep putting up guards, and Team Suslavich is going to either try to run the guards back or run them off until hopefully he can take control of the house. Probably not exactly where he wanted the guard, but Kent's going to elect to peel one of the other guards off here and try to give himself a path into the 4-foot. He needs to get rid of this junk up front in order for him to have a chance of scoring on this end.
He nearly got a bonus double, but just missed.
I think that was one of the cases where you either want to peel the guard, in other words, get both stands completely out of play, or you want to get the run back. In other words, you want to run the stone back and get the other one out, or double them off. And didn't quite get that, so he sort of almost left a guard up in place. So Team Oliver going to try to put another one in here and plug up the hole.
This stone looks like it's going deep. So Team Oliver sitting 3 at this point is really controlling the end.
So Kent Suslavich's team needs to hit these stones here and maybe try to roll off to the side behind his red guard there, or even behind the yellow guard. But he crashes. Not all that bad of a shot. He opens everything up again and forces Team Oliver to throw up another perfect guard. So we'd say that was sort of a pro side miss. If you're going to miss, at least take one of the guards off and clear it off. Tyler Oliver calling for the guard right in front, but looks wide and maybe a little heavy.
Boy, that is not what he wanted. It's a little hit and roll to the button that would be ideal here.
Or maybe buried behind those behind the two yellow ones there even. So, did not want to be that deep with that guard. That opens up the chance for Team Suslavich to hit and roll behind the other two yellow ones, and then they won't be able to take them out because those two are a little bit offset on each other. So, unfortunately, he a little wide on that, and as a result, he just hit and stick, and Team Oliver just going to try to take that out, and he takes it out. He sort of keeps backing him up. That's one of the problems when you play takeout and you hit and stick, is you keep backing up the rocks, and it's going to make it hard for Team Suslavich then to get that hit and roll behind the two yellow ones, because pretty soon he's going to be right next to him. Okay, calling for normal takeout weight here. And takes it out and rolls off. That's certainly acceptable too. So at this point, Ken Suslavich and his vice, Joe Spitzner, talking about what to do here. And looks like the shot they call is try to freeze into the pocket of those two yellow stones, right in front of those two yellow stones. The strategy being that on his next shot, he'll then be able to come down and push that, hit his own stone with his stone, and then possibly be sitting two. At this point, that's probably the only way he has a good chance of trying to score two at this end. The freeze is usually considered the hardest shot in curling. To do a perfect freeze, you have to have perfect broom, perfect weight, perfect sweeping, and you really need all but to be touching the other rock or very, very close to touching the other rock. Very difficult shot.
And that's pretty darn good.
Although Team Oliver is still sitting shot, actually that's an excellent shot by Ken Suslavich. He's set up here, depending on what happens um, uh, with Tyler Oliver's stone here. He's set up to possibly push that red one back into the yellow one, and then be sitting two. So Tyler has to figure out what he's going to do here. If he wants, he can come at it hard and try to remove it and knock it out, but that is a big risk of jamming into his own. That's a tough shot. Or just trying to come down and sit against it. Looks like he's, I don't know, George. Looks like he's calling for the hit here.
I would think that he's going to hit
hit
the red stone and take his own out with it.
Yep.
And then block off the 4-foot, any access for the draw.
He wants to hit the red one on the right side and then chip it out, and then leave Kent a very tough draw for one. The risk on this shot is if he's a little bit outside, he can jam it in, roll just to the side, and then leave Kent a hit for two.
Nose hit would be ideal. And he doesn't quite get that, but he got them both out. So Oliver is sitting three.
Yep. Removed it from play, but did leave the entire 4-foot open for the draw here. Always a pressure draw for the skip when you got to draw against the number of rocks in the house, even when it's an open draw like this.
Tight broom, really tight broom.
So Kent's shot is off.
And it's in the sweeper's
And,
hands, and they're brushing.
And he's going down. They're sweeping hard. And he's going to get his one.
And that's a beautiful draw
So,
shot. That's a clutch
Excellent clutch shot by the skip.
against three.
Tough shot. And keeps Team Suslavich in the game. So we're at 6-5 after 7 ends with Team Oliver ahead. And Team Oliver coming back in the 8th end with the hammer. Usually at this point, the advantage is to the team in the 2 ends, and the even end, 2 ends before the end of the game. This is a 10-end game. So coming back in the 8th end with the hammer, usually that team has the advantage. They can take 1 or take 2 here, give up the hammer in the 9th end, hold the other team to 1, then come back with the hammer in the 10th end. Then they're in good shape. So right now, advantage to Team Oliver with 3 ends left, and they have the hammer. So Cantier is going to need to put up a center guard, and then next shot, another center guard, and he very much needs to score on this end. Well played, center guard. And Team Oliver here looking like they're okay with something a little bit on top, off to the side. Looks a little bit light.
That was a somewhat unconventional call, I believe.
Yeah, I would say so. I didn't really get that one myself. Usually at this point, maybe they would put one into the side, down in the house just to have a counter, or maybe just draw behind and take control of forfeit early, because they wouldn't be all that unhappy with just making sure they win this end and taking 1, rather than taking a risk to go for 2. But now there's a couple of guards up front, and Team Suslavich can start trying to draw behind those guards or bumping their own up and seeing if they can take 1.
It looks like the bump is what they're going to wind up with here. We're building a lot of junk in front of the house.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt anything.
It doesn't hurt Suslavich.
He was trying to draw around, but fortunately, even though he crashed on his own, he didn't split him up too much. He's still got a lot of junk up front that he can try to draw around and try to steal. So at this point, Tyler Oliver's team going to try to be first to the forefoot. A little wide and a little deep. And it's a nice setup for Kent Suslavich's team. He can come down to that, maybe hit, roll over a little bit behind his guards, and be in good shape for trying to steal 1. Kent's look like he's electing to freeze against 1, and that certainly that'll work as a strategy too. And if he bumps a little bit, that's okay too. Quite a bit of weight for the freeze, and ends up being outside and ends up flashing through.
Oliver just looking to place a guard on the inside of that stone to prevent a possible hit and roll behind those guards that are out front of the house. And that guard looks like it does the job. It's going to protect the inside of the stone. I think the hit's still there. The draw is still there for the freeze. This looks like another unconventional call.
Throwing sort of an intern draw here, maybe through the port. And if he can get through this port, it'll be a great shot.
And he does.
And he does
indeed.
indeed.
Looks like a lovely shot.
Beautiful shot. Drawing through the port between two rocks. Always a difficult shot.
The gallery loves the shot, by the way.
Very tough shot. And it leaves Oliver with the same shot. If he can hit the same shot, he'll.
He's throwing a little bit more weight.
He'll be on. He'll be
He's
on the
try
button.
to take this out.
I don't know, George. Was he trying to clip that one out? That would have
Yeah,
been a hard thing to clip out without
Yeah,
jamming.
he was trying to run that down, and there was
Yeah.
not much of a port to come through,
Yeah.
but he opens the whole house up.
Yeah, he opens things up. Kent still got a guard, pretty good guard here, and with a second guard here, he'll be pretty well buried. So throwing the outturn guard here. Like it to be a little bit offset from the guard he already has.
Looks to be curling a lot.
And he's coming down right in. And I think he's sitting 1-2 right now.
I think that second shot. Yes, it is.
Unfortunately, it sort of leaves almost a path, not quite a path, but a path for Tyler Oliver's team here to maybe get in at him. But it looks like what he's going to do is he's just going to try to peel the guard here. So strategy here is just get the guard out of the way, make Kent Suslavich's team keep putting up perfect guards again. Hope Kent is a little bit off so that he can get at those two red ones in the back.
And he missed the guard,
Yeah.
but he got a plan B, which works out okay. Took out one stone.
White on that shot was okay. Took out one of the other stones, but still leaves Kent Suslavich's team to try to put up another guard here and plug up the path to his red stone right in the 4-foot.
Brushes are working hard here, and that stone is diving.
I think that line looks pretty good there, George. I think they just got it over the hog, but I think he can't get through there. Usually like a guard, maybe not quite that high, but it works in this case. So Tyler Oliver here, once again, going to elect to peel off that red center guard. And indeed, he does get the peel. And so that'll leave Kent to try to put up, maybe guard things up again here.
Kind of surprised he's coming this way. With so much open room on the other side.
When you have some high guards like that, there's two high guards up near the hog line, and you don't want to be you don't want to be ticking one too much and leaving the path open. But sometimes if you throw lightweight and you can just tick one over, sometimes it works to your advantage and you end up with the guards you're looking for. But he'd like to miss his own red stone here. He's throwing the out-turn guard and plug up the middle again. Just misses his own guard and ends up placing a beautiful number 2 guard, beautifully placed. So as I was explaining before, here at they have a fantastic camera system here at the Potomac Curling Club. And however, the camera system is designed for sheet B, and this game is being played on sheet D, the 4th sheet. But the center cameras above sheet B are able to actually rotate and give you a view of sheet D, although you don't get that beautiful view right up and down the ice, but you still get to see what's happening. But it's a little bit at an angle, and that's sort of the angle that we have at the same announcers trying to judge what's going on, as we're behind sheet B and C, and the game is being played on sheet D.
Sweepers are on it immediately.
It's like he's trying, quite sure here. Maybe was trying to draw around a little bit, but going to end up leaving a guard and bumping up the red into the house, but not for shot. Things are pretty plugged up here. That's definitely an advantage to Team Suslavich now to plug it up a little bit more and try to take their one. And they really needed to score at this end, and it looks like they've got a good chance of doing so. So Kent throwing the out-turn guard. Doesn't mind tapping this one a little bit, just so they're offset a little bit. Oh, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful shot. Whole front end now plugged up. Pretty tough shot for Team Oliver here to try to get into the 4-foot and take one.
That shot takes away the run back as well. It was a good shot.
Try to draw into the 4-foot here. Go off the yellow there.
This draw is to the pin.
He's trying to draw around. Needs to get almost to the button in order to score here. And he looks a little bit heavy. So it's a steal of 1 for Ken Suslavich's team. The score is 5-5 after 8 ends. 2 ends to go. Teams now meeting on the ice, figuring out what their strategy is going to be for the 9th and 10th end. And Team Oliver will have the hammer for the 9th end.
Wouldn't you think that Oliver would want to blank this end?
Again, Oliver at this point, his strategy is Oliver either needs to take 2 or blank the end. He really doesn't want to. He doesn't, of course, doesn't want to give up a steal, but giving up 1 wouldn't work either because that really he's tied up, and if he gives up 1, then Ken Suslavich's team would be coming back with the hammer, down 1, and that's usually considered an advantage to the team with the hammer. So.
Suslavich.
One red.
Kent calling for the calling for the center guard. Wants to try to score a little bit off center, but acceptable shot and enough off center that Team Oliver is going to try to draw around it, try to use it as almost a corner guard, and see if they can draw around it early. They really would like to take 2 here if they can, so that if they come into the 10th end, the last end of the game, they're up by 2. Well, the shot was light. It gives another opportunity for Ken Suslavich's team to put up a center guard here and try to get 2 guards up front, and they'll be in excellent position for the 9th end then. At this point, you really do not want this shot in the house. If it is in the house, you want to make sure you're buried completely behind your own rock.
And I don't know where it stopped. I can't tell.
So we ended
Looks
up
like
heavy,
it stopped at top 4.
heavy and heavy end in the 4-foot. So the shot here by Tyler Oliver's team will be to try to hit and roll underneath those guards. And if he can do that, he's setting himself up to score 2. Nice weight on the shot, control weight type of shot, maybe a little bit normal down, and rolled out, but rolled out a little too far. So Ken Suslavich is going to call his team to just take this stone, just remove this stone. If they roll in, that'd be good too, but he just wants to make sure he removes it at this point. He doesn't want any counters in the house, so he does not want Team Oliver taking 2.
Boy, did that curl a lot.
That pilot shot looked like it picked or something. I think so.
That
something happened to that stone. Maybe it picked on a piece of dirt or something, moved way over, and as a result, a little bit of bad luck. The shot on the back, it's behind the tee line. Team Oliver's stone is somewhat guarded. And so now Team Oliver has to decide how they can get a second one in. And so what they're electing to do is go ahead and draw behind the center guard and see if they can get 2 counters in there early, and then make Team Suslavich try to go after them.
kind of surprised they didn't draw to the other side of the house.
I would agree. I'd agree, George, because the risk with this shot is you knock the red one in
And
if
that's
you're narrow.
what looks like it's going to happen.
And they're going to clip it a little bit here, not really knock it in, but sort of knocked it behind. Almost really makes that take out hard for that back rock, but looks like they still have a path to it, and they're gonna throw a normal weight at it and see if they can pick that rock out of the back.
And that's a beautiful shot.
Beautiful shot. Beautiful shot. Took that counter away. And Tyler Albert has to decide: does he want to try to do some draw in or ignore that rock, or looks like he's going to try to maybe hit it and roll in. Sweeping it hard, almost crashed on the guard, and now we think we have 2 red stones in the house.
Can't. Nope.
Nope, we don't. We still have 1
We
red
got it
stone
out.
in the house. Front of the house pretty open. Couple of Tyler Oliver's guards right up front. So Ken Suslavich's team going to try to draw in behind the guard, and either try to steal or make it very difficult for them to take more than 1, so they could come home with the hammer down 1. Clips the guard, but sort of puts a second counter in for himself. So well, looks like at this point Tyler has a hammer. Going to try to double these off, maybe roll, stick around and roll. He needs to maybe get rid of those rocks. He doesn't want to leave a chance for not only have a chance for Ken Suslavich to end up taking a few on this end. So he peels the top one off. So at this point, Kent going to try to draw behind those guards again, or sit right up front. That would be okay too. Drawing behind the guards would be better. Nice to get 2 counters in there, and make it hard for Tyler Oliver to take 2.
Nope.
Just outside of the house. Just outside of the house. Nice shot. Maybe they can draw around it later. Probably not ideally what they wanted to do right now. So and try to see Tyler Oliver here try to hit the red stone in the back. By doing that, there's no stones left in the house. And if he gets the roll, he can roll behind the guards. And then he has a possibility of taking 2. And little heavy. Still in play the way it looks, but outside the house. So Kent will try to draw in behind his own center guard. Let's see if he can get that buried. He really wants to get this stone buried here. He does not want to leave it out to the side where Tyler could come down with his first skip stone and try to hit and roll behind the guards. So he needs to either bury this or maybe be stuck right up at the top of the 12-foot. Does not want to be sitting out to the side and not be buried. Actually, not a bad shot. Not a bad shot. He was narrow. Do you have a biter there,
He
George?
does. I believe he does have a biter.
Yeah, that's.
I think it's a yellow, yellow, red, and that red is biting.
Oh, that's the way it looks.
I think he can run the 2 yellows.
Yep.
And actually, if he does it on the inside, he might be able to roll in as well.
So maybe a shot here you're going to try is to clip the red one that's just inside of the house out with maybe a control weight or a little bit less than that, kind of a shot. And control weight takeout or maybe a backline type weight, and then roll to the side underneath his own guard on the right side. If he's successful, then he has a chance of taking 2 on this end.
He's got a lot of weight on this stone.
Throwing a little more than what I thought would be control weight. And
he's going the yellow, yellow, red route. Oh,
and
my
completely
goodness.
completely crossed the stones. Don't think that's what he wanted to do.
No.
So Kent Suslavich going to throw his last stone here, and without the hammer, and probably try to plug up the middle, right, biting the 12-foot. That still leaves a lot of space on the sides for Tyler to draw to. Although drawing after as a skip, drawing after you've just thrown a takeout, always a bit tough. And drawing to the outside, you got to get your weight just right. So he's going to put the pressure on, try to either bite the 12-foot or be a little bit outside. He does not want to be deep. He does not want to be full 12-foot or farther in, such that there would be a hit and stick for Tyler's last shot. And that is almost perfectly placed. Almost perfectly placed. So makes it hard. There's a port there he could try to draw through to the center, but he has to figure out something to do here.
Blank.
With his.
I think he's going to blank. He's got to hit the yellow, yellow, red out.
Yeah, that looks like. I think George has got the strategy here. Is maybe basically got the. Try to run the yellow into the red, force the red out the back, and then blank the end. So he's coming home with the hammer with the game tied. So in curling, whenever there's if you finish the end and there's no stones in the circles in the house at all, that's called a blanked end. You go into the next 10, but the team that had the hammer retains the hammer. So in this case, if he's successful with this shot, they would retain the hammer for the last end and have the last rock advantage, coming home with the game tied. He's throwing at it with a lot of weight.
Oh, my goodness.
And oh my goodness, I think what he did. Knock him in for 2?
Can't tell. I can't see.
Go back to the house here.
1, maybe 2.
So you look at the house here. There's 1 or 2 for Team Suslavich. That shot was a little bit inside, and sort of hanging points here. And indeed, it is 2 for Team Suslavich. So a steal of 2, and teams are now meeting on the ice, figuring out their strategy for the last end. I think what we can expect to see is Team Suslavich may go defensive here. What they want to do is just hold. All they need to do is to hold Team Oliver for 1. And indeed, Kent has called for the shot to be at the top of the 4 foot. So they're not using the free guard zone here. They don't want any rocks short that Tyler Oliver's team can draw around. They want to be in the house and make Tyler Oliver come and hit. Or he's going to have to put up some corner guards and try to do something. Unfortunately, it looks like they're going to be short. They didn't really want to be short. And last end in a situation like that with the lead stone, you really want to be in the house. Even
Or
through the house is okay.
Yes.
You do not want to be short. So right now, Tyler Oliver is going to put up a corner guard. He's going to need that corner guard in order to have something to roll behind to try to take 2 and at least tie at this end. It's a little narrow, so the center's all plugged up now. And now we're going to see interesting shot here. We're going to see Kent have his lead actually try to remove his own stone. He doesn't want to have anything up front. Sometimes this is called the peel of shame. And the peel of shame is a shot that the lead throws when he's short on his first rock in the final end when they're ahead. So unfortunately, he hit Yellowstone. Yellow was a free guard. And that Yellowstone is going to come back, and the red stone comes off. So we're back to the way we were. He really needed to be a little wider on that shot and just take out his own stone. So Tyler Oliver at this point, he's going to start trying to draw in, get some counters in the house. He'd rather have corner guards and be playing to the sides, but at this point he's got a couple of guards built up front, and he needs to get rocks in and needs to start trying to score. And indeed, he is going to bring one just biting, but a little bit exposed. So we're done with the first 4 rocks. So we no longer have the free guard zone. So the strategy for Kent Suslavich's team now is he wants to clear out that front. He does not want any guards that Team Oliver can draw around. So he's going to try to clean out the front, see if he can open things up. That's a beautiful shot. Beautiful shot. Now, at this point, Team Oliver has 1 rock in the house. They can elect to split the house, which looks to be what they're doing, and they can actually play for 2 at this point. So if they keep putting a rock into the house for the rest of the end, and Team Suslavich can't get the double, they'll score their 2, and they'll take the game to an extra end. Key here is you need to have your draws in the house, and make sure you keep putting those rocks in the house, so that Team Suslavich has to keep coming back, and scoring one. Unfortunately, he's just a little bit short, and so Kent is going to basically try to remove this stone. And if he can keep playing takeout for the rest of the end, then he'll win the game. But we'll see what happens with this shot.
Surprised he was willing to stick there. Figured he would want to roll his stone out.
Yeah, I think that'd be best to roll out. Although now what this does do is it forces them, rather than trying to draw around that corner guard on the time, they have to go out. They have to do something about this rock. So sticking isn't all that bad. So he's gonna, Tyler Oliver, he's gonna try to freeze against that rock and be shot or be able to tap something back later. So he's quite light on that shot. And now Kent has to decide, is he gonna basically clear this guard off or try to put something else in. The more conservative shot is what he's doing, which is he just wants to get rid of that guard. Just keep it open, keep them making play takeout for the rest of the end, and then the other team, Team Oliver, only gets one. Kent Suslavich is up by 2, and he wins the game. Didn't quite get the peel there, somewhat left the guard. So here at this point, we can look for another freeze down to the back of the red rock by Tyler Oliver's team. Needs to throw a little bit more weight than the last shot. Sort of the same situation we were in on Team Oliver's last shot. They're going to try to freeze to that back red stone. They need a counter in there to try to take 2. And he is a little heavy on this shot and wide. So Kent would just like to remove this rock. He just removes the rock, then there's nothing in the house. They still have the same shot, the next shot, but he wants to make sure that he removes this and he doesn't peel off his own.
Rushers are on it.
That's a good shot. That's a good shot. I like to sweep that out. You don't really want him to give something to freeze down on that side either. But we're back to the same situation. And once again, Tyler Oliver will try to freeze down to that red stone. He's a little bit short. A little bit short. Good shot, but pretty easy shot for Kent to pick out here. And if he picks out and rolls a little bit, the 4-foot's going to be full of red rocks, and it really makes tough for Tyler Oliver to take his 2 and tie up the game. So Kent needs to pick this off. Does not want to jam the yellow into the back rock.
And he's
Beautiful
made a
shot. Beautiful shot. Picked it right out of there. Leaves a rock in the 4-foot, somewhat almost guarding another rock in the 4-foot. And now we're going to see a tough shot by Tyler Oliver with his first skip stone. Going to try to draw around with the in-turn draw and see if he can get right down to the button in the 4-foot. It's a big shot for Tyler. If he can't get to the button, not much chance of taking 2 at that point. And he crossed. Going to knock another red in. And that makes things pretty tough. Not a lot yellow can do to score 2 here. This is looks like he's going to try to take out that Yellowstone. It's a little bit risky. You know, if he misses it and jams it down in there, actually he has a chance to get 2. So bit of an aggressive call for this this point in the game.
Think he'd be better off just throwing it to the boards?
I think he'd be better off almost doing nothing here. It's yep. And that pretty much makes it impossible to for Tyler Oliver to score 2. So with that, Tyler Oliver is elected to shake, and Ken Suslavich is a win, and he will play at 8 p.m. in the next tiebreaker with Team Winterborn. So on behalf of the Potomac Curling Club and George and myself, I'm Steve Duberstein from Portage, Wisconsin. Thanks for listening. And the next broadcast will be at 8 p.m., and that game will be between Ken Suslavich and Team Winterborn.